Now his final challenge is the two earlier challenges in a different form. Remember, we talked about in The Hobbit how the movement from one creature to the next is really a movement from one dragon to the next. All those little creatures that he meets, the trolls and the goblins and Gollum, the spiders, are all forms of the dragon. And so by the end of it, he's meeting the big dragon, which is shown in smaller and smaller forms from the very beginning of the story, including Bilbo blowing smoke through his nose at the start and being a dragon himself. In this story, the Grendel and Grendel's Dam are dragon-like characters. They consume everything around them. They live outside of civilization. They are both of them living in a hole in the ground in the swamp. They're violent and merciless, much like a dragon. And Beowulf has to face them as he has to face this creature further on at the end of the story. And in this part of the story, he's an old man. And so it makes a difference, because when he fought Grendel and Grendel's Dam, he was a young man. But now the dragon comes out, and he's king, and it's his responsibility to do something about the dragon. And so he has to go out and kill this thing. And he takes with him 12 of his most trusted lords. In the Anglo-Saxon political situation, men would gain honor and land and glory by deeds in battle, proving that they were brave and courageous, kind of like a democracy, a society based upon honor and bravery and courage. And so the men that he takes with him are these courageous, strong men who have proved themselves in battle. And they go up to the Tower of the Dragon. And for future reference, note the geography of the Tower of the Dragon. The tower is described as a tower out on a promontory of rock that sticks out into the sea. And that will be important when we get to Lord of the Flies. But this tower that sticks out on the jetty onto the water is this remote place far from civilization, where the dragon has taken up its abode and has hoarded all this treasure, gathered all this treasure together, and has come out because one man has stolen a cup to try and buy his freedom. He's done an evil deed, it's broken the law, but it's in order that he buy his freedom. So it's for good reason. And the dragon consequently is terrorizing the land, and Beowulf has to fight him again. And he calls his lords to help him, and none of them will go with him. They're all cowards. They prove at the moment of their own destruction, they prove that they are not courageous enough to be able to face this horrible beast. And so they leave him. They leave Beowulf there to die. And he fights the dragon. His sword again breaks him, fails him. And none of the lords will come forward. And finally, one young man, Wiglaf, jumps forward and says, you men are cowards. What did we do sitting around the table and accepting these gifts? And why don't we go help them? And it's that call to greatness that inspires Wiglaf then to go and help Beowulf. None of the other lords will go. And he goes and he jumps forward and he lends his sword to Beowulf under Beowulf's shield. And courageously the two of them face this horrible beast, this breathing fire that comes to kill them at the last. And Beowulf has been stung in the shoulder by the dragon. His venom is working its way into his body, so he's dying under his shield. And Wiglaf jumps forward, and right when the dragon is about to consume Beowulf, he thrusts his sword into the mouth of the dragon and kills him. And then afterwards, Wiglaf, who has now proven himself to be courageous, inherits the ability to say to the lords, you are cowards, and your whole country will fail because you did not step up to what you needed to step up to. And I think that's a great ending of the statement of the story, is that cowardice ends up destroying the nation, destroying the country. But Beowulf has already faced Grendel in two other forms, and when he faces the dragon at the last, it is a confirmation of his facing terror, facing despair, facing defeat. He knows he can't defeat the dragon, especially alone, and yet he has to go and face it. And this level of courage, determination, is what defines him as a man. And remember at the beginning I said what makes a good king. This makes a good king and a good man. It's somebody who is able to face the dragon, somebody who is able to face the fact of imminent failure, the fact that he's going to die, and yet he does what he knows he has to do. He does what he knows is good. The Anglo-Saxons emphasize this point over and over again. A hero is somebody who faces despair. A hero is somebody who faces defeat. A hero is somebody who does what he knows to be right, even when it looks like it's going to kill him. And ultimately, the hero is somebody who faces the dragon. So when we see at the end Wiglaf's fidelity, Beowulf passes to him the kingship. Kind of makes him a de facto king in a way. That he says, you inherit what I leave behind. And the cowardice of the others makes them incapable of being kings. Wiglaf then takes the gold and spreads it out in the sun and puts it all together with Beowulf's body and honors Beowulf as a king. And we end the whole of the narrative with that magnificent reflection on what Beowulf is as a man. The overarching question is here in the book, how do you face your own death? How do you face your own demise or failure? And it says at the very end that they wrought a mound for Beowulf, something that people could see for years to come. And they laid on the barrow rings and ornaments, all such adornments as men eager for combat had erstwhile taken from the hoard. They let the earth keep the treasure of earls, the gold in the ground where it yet lies, as useless to men as it was before. Then men bold in battle, sons of chieftains, 12 in all, rode about the mound. They were minded to utter their grief, to lament the king, to make a chant, and to speak of the man. They exalted his heroic life, and praised his valorous deed with all their strength. Thus it is fitting that a man should extol his friendly lord in words, should heartily love him, when he must needs depart from his body and pass away. Thus did the men of the gates, his hearth companions, bewail the fall of their lord. They said that among the kings of the world he was the mildest of men, and most kindly, most gentle to his people, the most eager for praise. So we end with this. What Beowulf shows us is that when we face these monsters, these demons, these creatures out of nightmare, we have a choice. We're always faced with a choice. We either choose the route of despair, destruction, violence, like Unferth or Grendel. Even though we live, we become monsters in that route. We become like Gollum. Or we choose the route that might guarantee our own failure, our own destruction, our own loss, but ultimately is remaining a hero, remaining human, remaining Bilbo, or remaining Frodo, or remaining Beowulf, and we die not as a dragon, but as a hero.